guys and welcome back to my channel. Hi if you're new. Today is the first video I have filmed since having my little grey bear. He is 13 days old. He's going to be 2 weeks old tomorrow. I cannot believe it. It's gone so fast already and I don't like it. I just want to slow down time. A bit more sleep would be great. So if you could just age for the sleeping part and stay this little for a while, that would be great. But he's just so good. He's a good boy. We are doing the whole baby wearing thing right now and he kind of loves it. So today I am going to be telling you all about my labour and delivery story, about my C-section and how everything went down basically. It did not go as planned. Well, we kind of knew it wasn't going to go as planned anyway because I have the worst luck ever. But it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'm just gonna sit down and just tell you what went on. Yes, we're gonna fill them in. So he was supposed to be coming via Caesarian general anaesthetic on March 1st. He did not want to wait that long, which we kind of knew because I was in slow labour for a while. I was in slow labour for about a month beforehand and I kept having these scares going into the hospital and things. So we kind of always thought that I was gonna go in early. So on the 22nd of February, I started having some pains in my stomach again. It started off as a general pain, but then quickly moved into some super strong contractions. I was convinced that I was going to die. They were so painful. And all of a sudden I had the urge to push. And I don't know why, and it was not nice, but I just knew that I had to phone the assessment unit. I'd been holding on for hours, but I knew I had to ring in and just check and see what was going on. So when I rang the assessment unit, they said, because I felt the need to push, they basically just said, okay, where's your boyfriend? Get him to get his phone and just call 999 and call an ambulance. And I was shitting myself. I was like, no, I don't want this to happen. And in the meantime, I stayed on the phone with them while the community midwife came out. This was at about 11:30 at night. So the poor lady had to come out at 11:30 at night to come and see what was going on with me, and I was not in any fit state. It's just, labour is just like this thing that you cannot describe. When they say that when you go into labour you do not care what anyone thinks, my lord, is that true? I was in so much pain, I did not care what I was doing, what I was saying. You just let everything just happen, and it's not lovely, is it? No, it's kind of very gross. There was an accident then, unfortunately, so the ambulance was going to be about 20 minutes, but the midwife checked me. I was 2 centimetres dilated and and she wanted to get me to the hospital, but because the ambulance was taking a while, she said, is it okay if you go in your car, I'll follow in my car, and then we will, if you need to push again, then we will stop on the side of the road and I will come into your car and guide you. So that was a little bit scary, but we actually made it to the hospital fine. That night I was having contractions and things on the monitor. I was sticking at 2 centimetres. They checked me at 11:30, I was 2 centimetres. And then the next morning they checked me again and I was still at 2 centimetres. And it was kind of scary because I was having a general anaesthetic Caesarian planned and I was not about to go through a natural birth because it was dangerous for me after everything that I'd been through with the brain surgery and things. But the doctor basically discharged me in the morning and just said, oh, by the way, if you get to 8 centimetres dilated, then you can't have a Caesarian because it'll be too low, so you're just going to have to go naturally. I don't get it. Like, it was unsafe for me, so why would they even... I don't get it. Everyone was just kind of annoyed that they wouldn't just do the Caesarian early if things were happening, because they said if I got to 3 centimetres dilated then they could do the Caesarian. So what if I went home, went from 2 to 8 and then had to have a scary natural birth? It just... I'm so glad it didn't work out that way because that would have just been so dangerous, and that part really annoyed me about the whole situation. But they discharged me that day and I went home. So they discharged me on the Friday morning, and by the Saturday I was in again with like stronger contractions. Sorry, baby gone in a bottle, so he's gone to dad. Yeah, so I bounced on my ball for about 3 hours while the rugby game was on, Wales versus Ireland, because I was like, is there a point in me going in if they're just going to say that I'm not dilated and they're just going to send me home and it's going to annoy me. So I just sat on my ball for about 3 hours, just bouncing away, trying to dilate, and then it got to about 4 o'clock and I had been bleeding a little bit, so I thought to myself, I'm just going to have to ring, because if anything ever happened, I would never ever forgive myself. So because of him, obviously I had to make sure that I was, you know, checking him out and making sure he was okay. So we went into the assessment unit about 4:30. They checked me, still 2 centimetres dilated, even though I'd been on that ball for a good 3-4 hours. Just didn't move off it, just stayed on the ball. But they said that my cervix had come forward 2 centimetres, whatever that means. So things were changing, things were developing, but I wasn't dilating in the way that I needed to be dilating. I don't know, I don't get it. But the contractions at this point had settled down quite a bit. They were painful when they came, but they weren't like excruciatingly painful. So for the first time I was actually not bothered and I was quite happy to go home. But that didn't happen because they said, we're going to keep you in just to be sure. So at 4:30 on the Saturday the 24th, they admitted me to the ward. Baz left at 8 o'clock, and from then on I went on my ball and I just sat by the bed and just bounced on my ball all night and did not move from it. And then at about 1 o'clock in the morning, these contractions got so bad, to that point where that people talk about, where when it comes and you cannot talk, you cannot do anything, you cannot say it, you can't function when they come. They're so bad, they're so painful that you're just like you just can't describe it. You have to just go through it or see someone go through it to get it. So at that time I thought, no, can't do this, gas and air, needed it. So she put me on gas and air and they just got worse and worse and worse. She was monitoring the baby and things. He was okay. His heartbeat did go below, I think it's 130 that they say it shouldn't go under, and it shouldn't go over 160. And his heart rate dropped to 120 at one point, so the machine started beeping from 130 and it kept dropping down to 120, and it was kind of scary because there was like 3 midwives and a doctor around. So that was a little bit scary. Things were getting really bad though. I was not, the pain was so bad that I was getting to the point even gas and air was just making me feel sick. It wasn't really helping with the pain. So they moved me to the delivery suite, and Baz came at 5 o'clock in the morning. They moved us and I had some diamorphine, and that was just fabulous. So when I got there, usually with contractions I was like settling at about 19 and going up to like 50 or 60 or so. But by the time I got to the delivery suite I was sitting at 70, and then when I was contracting it was going up to like 130. So it was a big difference. It was like totally doubled the numbers and more. So I was definitely like in labour, contracting, in a lot of pain. I really genuinely thought that they were not going to do the C-section because they'd said so many times and sent me home and things. So I just thought, they're just going to send me home. It was a Sunday, so it wasn't normal Caesarian days, it was just on-call staff, which was another reason that I thought that they just weren't going to give me it. But they came in at about, I think, 9 o'clock. They had a chat with me about a natural birth, and I said, no, not happening, too dangerous, no thank you. I know they're very wary about giving Caesarians, especially general anaesthetic, because it's like a full-on operation, obviously. And they say it's like one of the worst stomach surgeries that you can do. So they are very reluctant to give them, but it was medical, I needed it, so I was not about to go natural and risk my health and me not being able to look after my baby. So I was like, no. And when I said that, I thought again, they're just not going to give it to me. But she just turned around and said, okay, well, we're going to do you today then, we'll get you prepped now, and then at some point, as long as no like emergency, if someone was hemorrhaging or something like that came in, then we would go in at some point during the day. So that was like, we did not expect that. It was amazing news, but we did not expect it. They got me in my gown, they did the catheter. Oh my bloody god. When I had my brain surgery, they did the catheter whilst I was asleep. This time they did it whilst I was awake, and it was disgusting. It wasn't as painful as I thought, but my god, is it uncomfortable, and it just feels so wrong. Ugh. Then they put my sexy hospital socks on me. They actually put scrubs on Baz too, and then they realised once he was in his scrubs that he wasn't even allowed to be in the room because it was a general anaesthetic one, not a normal Caesarian. So he had his scrubs on for like no reason, but he looked cute, so it's fine. We were fully expecting that it was going to take all day, but they came in about, I'd say, an hour after, so about, I think they took me in to theatre about 10:30, and I'd only seen them at 9, and so it only took about an hour and a half for them to just say, okay, let's go. So it was like a dream. I'm just so glad it happened right now. It was a little bit scary. They were kind of saying, because it was a Sunday, it was on-call doctors, and obviously it was an emergency Caesarian because I'd gone into labour and it wasn't planned, so it wasn't going to be as tidy and scheduled and planned and things as obviously a planned one. But by this point I was in so much pain, I was just so ready to meet him that I just did not care. I was like, just give me the pain, just cut me open, just get him out, just get it done. So they took me through at 10:30. It was actually scary just because they walked us through together, me on the hospital bed, but they didn't let me say bye to Baz, they didn't let me give him a kiss or anything. I thought that they would like kind of stop, because it's like 3 rooms, so he was in the middle room, so where the baby would come out, they would move him from the room that I was in, which was the furthest room. This sounds so confusing. It's like one big room. Here's where the ward comes in. This room is the recovery room. Then you walk through, this is the room where they bring the baby once it's out to do all the checks and things. Then there's a door, and then this is where the actual Caesarian happens in the theatre. So Baz, I was here obviously, Baz was in the middle room while the baby was getting sorted, and then we'd move through to the recovery room once I was awake and things. And yeah, they just kind of left him in the middle room and just took me straight through, and I was like, I wanted to like give him a kiss and say bye and kind of get reassured, but oh well. So they took me through, did all, you know, the cannula and things, tilted me onto my side, because when you do a Caesarian they actually tilt you further than I thought actually. I actually thought I was going to fall off. I think there was about 10 people in the room. They said usually it would have been more if there was a normal staff on, but because it was short staff, because it was on call, there wasn't as many people there. I wasn't really bothered about how many people were in the room, to be honest. There was an anaesthetist, some midwives, the surgeon. I think there was 2 anaesthetists and 2 surgeons. And then there's obviously the extras, like the surgeon's hand, the people who are passing the tools over, things like that. So yeah, about 10 people in the room. They give you oxygen through a mask on your nose before they actually give you the thing to put you to sleep through your IV. So you're breathing in the oxygen, and then the anaesthetist was just asking me what kind of nursery rhymes and lullabies I would sing to the baby when he's born, while he was trying to get me off to sleep. And then someone presses down on your throat really hard actually, and it's a little bit scary because, you know, someone's pressing on your throat before you're gonna go to sleep. And then they put the thing through and off I was to sleep. Baby Gray was born at 11:15 AM and he had some struggles once he was born. He didn't breathe properly for about 15 minutes, so Baz was saying that it was a little bit scary for him to watch, but everything was fine in the end, thank God. I'm so glad I wasn't awake because I would have panicked so much. He said the 15 minutes felt like hours, so I'm glad I wasn't awake for that. After that, everything was fine. He weighed 7 pounds 7 ounces, and they actually don't do his length anymore, so I have no idea how long he is or anything. I woke up at about 1:30, and the first thing I did was look over at Baz, and I went, "Oh my God, is that a baby?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's our baby." And I said, "Oh my God, I can't wait to take him to Tesco." You know, Tesco's on the mind constantly. Love Tesco. I was pretty much knocked out for the first day. Gray was really sleepy too because of the general anaesthetic. He obviously gets the general anaesthetic, so they aim to get him out as quick as they can once I'm under. So he was a little bit dozy for the first night. We actually had to wake him up for all his night feeds because otherwise he just wouldn't have woken up. So we had to set an alarm for every 3 or 4 hours and wake him up and feed him. But otherwise he was totally fine. He was so chill. I was high as a kite. I can't remember seeing anyone. We saw my parents, Baz's parents, my sisters, my nan, my friend Kerry, and I think that was it for the first day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. And then we had a few visitors after that. My Caesarian scab, I didn't feel very much for that first day. So on the Sunday, the 25th, when he was born, I was still high as a kite, so I didn't really feel much pain. But the second and the third day were definitely the worst. They were very painful. One thing I need to say is keep on top of your pain meds. If you're having a cesarean, they will keep you in hospital for about 3 days. I'm not sure if it's 3 days for everyone, but because of the medication I was on beforehand, Gray had to stay in for 72 hours to be watched, just to make sure that he was, with his withdrawals and things, that he was okay. So they might let you home earlier than that, I'm not sure. But we were in for 3 days, so we were in till the Wednesday. But because we were in hospital, all the drugs are obviously kept with the midwives and the nurses and things. So you have to ask the midwives, because it's very rare that they will remember to bring them to you. And I just kept forgetting, so I was in a lot of pain on the second and third day. Laughing hurts. Coughing kills. And sneezing kills. So be very, very careful with those 3 things. I will say that peeing and things is not bad at all. Like, I thought it would be quite painful because everything you do is with your stomach muscles, but peeing and things, so fine. It's hard. It's obviously harder for me because I'm in a wheelchair, so I'm always in certain positions and I can't stand up and I can't do things that normal people can do. So it's hard for me to compare a cesarean and tell you what it's really like, because obviously I can't stand and things. So it's a very different situation for me. But I will say that it was not as bad as I thought it would be. Day 2 and day 3 are really difficult, so definitely keep on top of your meds. But apart from that, honestly, my cesarean journey was pretty good, and right now I am good. Like I mentioned earlier, Gray is actually 2 weeks old tomorrow, so it is going to be 2 weeks since my cesarean. And every day it just gets better and better. I've been kind of throwing myself around. I know I shouldn't, but hard not to when you've got a baby. You just have to get on with things. We had him on the Sunday, we came home on the Wednesday, and probably by the Thursday I was throwing myself around into my wheelchair, into my bed, onto the bath. Yeah, so it can't have been that bad. If I can do it in a wheelchair, then you guys can definitely do it. I was very lucky not to have any complications. The only thing was I lost a pint of blood, almost needed a transfusion but didn't, thank God. And my iron's pretty low, so I am taking some vitamins. But apart from that, everything went so smoothly, and I'm so happy with the way that everything went. Life with a newborn is very tiring, very time consuming, but it's so worth it. Like, every time that you look at your baby, everything is just fine. Even though you're so sleep deprived, I get about 4 hours, if I'm lucky, every day. He's a very nocturnal baby. I do the night shift, so Baz will go to sleep about 9. I'll stay up till about 5, and then at 5, when he has his feed, Baz will wake up and take him through. So I'll sleep then from like 5 till... I slept till 10 yesterday, but I only slept till 8:30 this morning. I don't know, it's hard. I just can't sleep. I'm like so hyped up on adrenaline that I just can't sleep, and it bothers me because then I'm tired all day. And I don't want to get anything done, but I don't know, I just can't sleep. So any sleep tips would be helpful. I have been able to wean myself completely off of medication too. I was on sleeping tablets beforehand. Don't need them anymore because I don't get any sleep. But I don't want to take them in the morning just to have those few hours, because I feel, especially with him being so little, I don't want to miss any time. So I don't want to sleep from like 6 till 12 or anything like that, because I feel like I miss so much. And they say sleep when he sleeps. Guys, that just doesn't happen. because you have visitors, you've got things to do. You should see his room right now. It's a tip. We've had so many presents, we're so lucky, but I just don't have the energy to keep them. So it's looking a bit like a madhouse in here right now. I have got quite a few videos lined up on the whole experience, you know, what it's like being disabled and pregnant, what it's like being disabled and being a mum. Just a lot. I've got a lot of stories for you guys, but I just wanted to do this video quickly just to let you know how everything went with the C-section and my labour and my delivery story. I will do a more in-depth recovery post soon. That didn't make any sense. I will do a recovery video soon. I'm gonna give it maybe a month just to be able to see exactly how I'm gonna heal, because right now there's not really much of a story, so I'll let you know how it goes in the next few weeks and stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and just say thank you so much for following my journey. I have loved sharing it with you. I can't wait to share his life with you. He is just the most perfect little boy. We are so blessed to have him. He is a little miracle, and we just love him so much. Please like this video if you like this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more, and click the bell if you want to be notified every time I post a video. They're just going to be filled with cuteness right now, because have you seen him? He's so cute. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you. If you have any questions or video ideas, please comment down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye. And start getting better. There's a stitch still here, and there's a stitch here somewhere and here somewhere. I'm not sure why, but there is. But